Hello everyone and welcome to our Week 6 Team Builder of the APA Evolution Showdown League Season 1. We are taking on the Green Bay Pikachus coached by Jacob as always. And if you don't remember the last time we faced him, it was in the IBL. And I may or may not have gotten 5-0'd by a Como-O that just set up in my face and then proceeded to run train that I could never kill. Pretty standard things with Como-O. So I've only faced him once. I got wrecked, so I know he's a very, very good battler. And after that battle, he's a really good guy, and he was like, hey, if you ever need help team building, because I don't think he was implying that I was bad, but he was definitely implying that he could help me. And I actually never took him up on it, but I think I wish I had. So, Jacob is a very, very good battler. I am not trying to make fun of you. I apologize if you took offense to that. No, I think you are a very talented battler. And that's where we're at right now. So I'm very itchy right now. I don't really know why, but we're just dealing with that. His team, as we get very sidetracked very quickly, is Garchomp, Tapu Fini, Mega Kangaskhan, Raikou, Umbreon, Aselgor, Gothitelle, Shadow Tag is legal, Hitmonlee, Steelix, Drifblim, Caracosta, and Jumpluff, with Garchomp and Aselgor being his two possible Z users. And what do we see right off the bat? Well, the first thing that you have to notice when you're looking at his team is his 4 fighting weaknesses and his 3 flying weaknesses. Yeah, we're going to be handling that with all of the stuff that we've got up our sleeve. Now, as you guys might know, fighting and flying, it happens to be something of a specialty for my team, which is altogether pretty slow in terms of speed tiers, with the third fastest mon being Sawsbuck at 95 and then Rotom at 91. But the 2 fastest ones being incredibly fast. We're going to lead off with those 2 here in the Team Builder. Tapu Koko is going to be using Fairy MZ, Calm Mind, Dazzling Gleam, Thunderbolt, and U-Turn. Honestly, the reason for that is that aside from Steelix, which if he brings, then I just can't set up yet because Steelix hard walls me. +1 Dazzling Gleam, Z Dazzling Gleam literally just shreds his entire team that Thunderbolt doesn't. Between the 2 coverage moves, again, outside of Steelix, those 2 things can really shred his entire team to pieces. Now, one thing he does have is that Gothitelle with Shadow Tag, so I definitely want to make sure I'm running as much get out of dodge attacks as possible. So U-Turn is going to be the first one you're going to see, but that's going to be a theme with this team. As you can see across the top, probably, this team has a lot of momentum, and it's going to be able to utilize that. And he may or may not bring his Gothitelle as a result of that, but that thing literally just comes in. So Nidoqueen has a great matchup here, and I really wanted to bring it, but Gothitelle literally just neutralizes it completely, and so I had to kind of play around that. So I have Ditto, which makes him prep weirdly, but he has Gothitelle. Now, Gothitelle, actually, I'll get to it later, but I have answers to Gothitelle, so I hope he does bring it, because I do think I will be okay if he does. Now, next up, after the Tapu Koko, which outspeeds, the 363 is designed to specifically outspeed his fastest mon that I can naturally outspeed, so not a Selgor, but the Raikou. So that just gets me to that speed tier, which is kind of what I was going for. Next up is the Hawlucha, which is Electric Seed Unburdened, so that I can outspeed that Aselgor, because that thing's incredibly fast and incredibly annoying. Final Gambit lead, very scary, since it doesn't activate even if I go into my Rotom. So I can go into Rotom, which doesn't take any damage, but then it doesn't activate, so then he gets up whatever he wants to do. If he wants to set up spikes or T-spikes or whatever. So Hawlucha is going to be the Unburdened set with enough speed to outspeed a Selgor with a Scarf. Just in case. I don't know, why not? I have the ability to run that kind of speed, so I'm going to. This thing is really not designed to do anything itself. Electric Seed with the Unburden gets me to +1 and +1 defense and the +2 speed on my Pokemon. But I am going to be running Swords Dance and Baton Pass this week. Again, if he does go into the Gothitelle, which hard walls me, I can then Baton Pass out into something that can take on the Gothitelle after getting to +1 defense and possibly even +2 attack as he switches that in. And by popping the Electric Seed and being Unburdened, Acrobatics is at least still viable. It does have some good matchups in this against things like the Jumpluff, if I think that that's something that he's going to bring. And Drain Punch can hit the Umbreon. It can hit between the 2 stabs. Again, like I said, his team is incredibly weak to them. With Hitmonlee, Jumpluff, Caracosta, Steelix, Aselgor, Umbreon, Mega Kangaskhan, like, all of those Pokemon are hit super effectively by my stabs. So I didn't really need any other coverage options. This is not a sweeper this week, even though it looks like it is. You can see that I'm not running any attack investment on it. At +2, it's still going to be doing a decent chunk of damage, but this thing is really designed to come in, get the Unburden so it's faster than everything on the field, and then be able to Swords Dance, threaten something out, and Baton Pass. And Baton Pass specifically into one Mon, and we'll get to that in a second. But next up, we're just going to talk about Ditto real quick, because I put these in the wrong order. I should have put Scizor next, but I didn't. So anyway, Ditto is going to be Scarfed as usual. It does come in on the Gothitelle and re-Shadow Tag the Gothitelle to trap that, so then it's a 1v1. Whichever one kills one first wins. But that's not my only answer to Gothitelle. It's honestly not my best answer to Gothitelle. This thing also comes in on a Mega Kangaskhan and gives me Scarf Mega Kangaskhan, which is pretty cool. I can be Scarf Raikou and scout out his set. I can be Scarf, I don't know, a Selgord, Garchomp, Finny, you know, like whatever I need to do. So this thing had a good matchup against him. Prevents him from really doing any crazy setup things, and I can just handle things. So Ditto, I figured I would just bring, it's a Hidden Power Dark. I don't think I'm going to click Hidden Power on anything, but that was what I decided to go with since Gothitelle is something that this thing could come in on, so I decided to run HP Dark this week. Next up is the Scizor, and that is what I want to Baton Pass a Swords Dance, maybe two into. If I Baton Pass 2 Swords Dances, Choice Band Scizor, I win the game. This thing will kill everything with a Bullet Punch, and that is just not in question. But even Choice Banded, Technician, Bullet Punch, Adamant, Boosted hits, kills mostly everything on his team at +2, because so the way that it works, I'm pretty sure, is that Choice Band multiplies your attack by 1.5 times, where Swords Dance gives you +2 attack, and +2 attack is 2 times your attack. Now, normally when you do a you get to +3, you actually boost from 2 times to 2.5 times. So it actually only boosts by a margin of significantly smaller, by a margin of 0.25 instead of a margin of 0.5, which is what actually is equal to +4. So by going with a Choice Band at +2, Scizor is actually looking like it's going to be +4, not +3. I think. I'm not 100% sure if that's how it works, but if you do the math, so +1 is 1.5 times, which is what Choice Band is. +2 is 2 times. +3 is 2.5 times. +4 is 3 times the normal attack. And 2 times, which is +2, times 1.5 is 3 times, which is +4. So I think that's how it works. Either way, I really want to be able to Baton Pass, Swords Dance, and the defense boost from the Electric Seed into my Scizor, since it is not Baton Passing the speed from the Hawlucha, just the other stats, because it's Unburdened. It is not actually, doesn't actually have that speed changed. It just marks it as being possibly changed. So I don't think it's illegal. I hope not. If it is, they'll tell me and I'll be sad. But that's what I'm going to try to do. It never works. My plans like that. Setup doesn't work for me, and that's a lot of setup. But it really only is one turn, because I have the Coco come in, I go into the Hawlucha, it gets the +1 defense, I get the +2 attack, and then I switch over into Scizor. And he doesn't, his things to hit Hawlucha with don't hit Scizor, and that's really what I'm looking at right there. Things like the Raikou I can take a hit from with the Scizor, things like the Drift Blim that threatens the Hawlucha doesn't as much threaten the Scizor. So things that threaten the Hawlucha don't threaten the Scizor as much, so I'm really hoping that I can get that attack switch into this. But even if I don't, U-Turn is going to be useful early game. Knockoff is incredibly useful against his team. And again, U-Turn is helpful against the Gothitelle if he does bring that in. I can just U-Turn out and then go into what I need to go into to deal with the Gothitelle. Now, I have the Rotom as well, which is immune to the Gothitelle's Shadow Tag, because it's a Ghost type. It's also immune to Final Gambit from Aselgor, so it really had a good matchup this week. And I am running Defog on it because of the Aselgor. This is a pretty dedicated switch into that if he does lead with it, or if I just want to lead with this. I have the Will-O-Wisp for things like the Garchomp and the Mega Kangaskhan. I know he has the Finny, but we'll deal with that as we deal with that. This also will allow me to hit the Drifblim and Jumpluff, 2 physical attackers often, and those even in the misty terrain, so I don't have to worry about that. Neither of them really love seeing a Rotom anyway. And then Hex helps me just hit things harder. I didn't really have a better option for a move outside of maybe Hidden Power Ice for the Garchomp, but it really was too niche, and I didn't think this Rotom was going to be using that too often. And Hex does only slightly less damage. They're both 2 KOs with the bird, so that's fine. And then the Volt Switch helps me against things like the Finny, which has to come in if he wants me to not Will-O-Wisp, which is a scary thing for him to switch in, because I could obviously be running Thunderbolt, and I could be running Electrium Z on this because it is one of my Z users, so he definitely has to be wary of that with his Finny coming in on it hard, which gives me pretty much freer Will-O-Wisp, which I was actually pretty excited about. And then obviously the Defog is just a generally useful thing to have. I am running a ton of physical bulk for the Garchomp and Mega Kangaskhan, which is really what this is designed to handle, as well as the Hitmonlee if he does decide to bring that. And lastly, we do have Gardevoir with Trace. This is actually a counter sweeper with Shadow Tag. If he does bring his Gothitelle, this is my primary response to it. Sub Calm Mind Gardevoir will defeat a Sub Calm Mind Gothitelle most of the time, unless he's running, for some reason, Psyshock and hits me with that. But if he does have his Gothitelle in and he's maybe locked into a move like Psychic, I can come in, click Sub, Calm Mind up. We can, have the leftovers rocking out, and then eventually just spam Moonblast to win the game. And Icy Wind should hit the Garchomp, which is really the only thing it needs to hit. And I guess the Jumpluff, if I really want to. But otherwise, Moonblast is super spammable against his team. The Steelix is a bit of a problem, but not that much. And we are running enough speed to make sure that we outspeed a Gothitelle, as well as a Drifblim if it is Adamant Drifblim and not Unburdened boosted, so that's kind of where that speed tier fell. And yeah, I was also trying to outspeed like a trying to see where exactly that speed tier came in. Oh, well, I don't really know. But that's what speed tier I went with. So we're going to rock out with this team this week. Hopefully it all goes well, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow with week 6 as we take on Jacob, and hopefully we pick up a win. We are currently 4-1 in this league, so looking good. Hopefully we continue to have success with this team. I'm really excited to be using it, and I'm really excited to give you guys more crazy sets on Showdown. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys back here tomorrow. Take care, everybody.